Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Sweden, and we're also going to stick to my home county of Skåne here in the very south of the country. For this review we're going to return to a brewery that you've seen me review many things from before, and these guys are one of the first breweries that I really kind of got into when I was over here in Sweden, and I'm curious to see how this one turns out because this is the latest instalment of a kind of mini series of beers that they've been releasing recently, and I do wonder about their obsession with nipples. So for this one we are going to head up towards Helsingborg once again, and we're having a look at another beer from Brewski Mikrobryggeri. So this one is called the Nipple IPA, and like I say, this is the fourth instalment of the Nipple series that they've been releasing. This one was released as part of the Lokal och Småskaligt assortment for November of 2020. I believe the exact date was the 1st of November 2020, and this one is a single IPA coming in at 6.5% ABV. So yes, we've already had the no nipple, which was the session IPA. We had the double nipple, which was the double IPA. Both of those came out in October, and then the month prior to that, in September, we had the triple nipple, triple IPA, which I think, as I say, I think I got a bad can of that one, unfortunately. But all of this nipple series has been very interesting, and in particular, I'm curious to see how this one weighs up next to the no nipple, because I actually probably enjoyed the no nipple the most out of the three of them so far. So yeah, it's interesting that the lower alcohol one and less kind of punchy one is the one that really struck a chord with me. So yeah, this should be a really interesting one to try. It's been a long time, I think, since I've had like a regular IPA from Brewski, come to think of it. Most of the beers that I've been reviewing recently have been the Berliner Weisses, and these guys recently have been doing two very nice series that I recommend you try. The Pie series, which is all the different fruity Berliner Weisses, and also the Cake series, which are the kind of pastry stout sort of things. But of course the series that these guys became really well known for was the Fever series, their big hazy fruity IPA. So if you can get beers from any of the three of these series, you will enjoy them actually. But probably the best known Skåne's craft brewery these days, and it's always interesting to review the new beers that these guys are releasing. So yeah, curious to see how this one turns out, and I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this beer as well. Always nice to review these new Brewski beers, as I was saying. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one then. So as always with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Brewski Mikrobryggeri before, and you will no doubt see more added to that list in the fairly near future. There's all the usual social media down there. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, province, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Brewski Mikrobryggeri then, on to my brewery notes once again. So as I've told you many a time before, Brewski Mikrobryggeri were founded back in 2014, and they're based in Helsingborg in the northwestern part of Skåne, here in the very south of Sweden. And the founders of this company are four guys actually. It's Marcus Hjalmarsson, Johan Britsen, Alfred Olsson and Robin Skoglund. And all of these guys had been home brewers, and they were inspired to kind of start their own brewery company, having tasted the West Coast American craft beers. But of course these guys really started out with the more kind of hazy IPAs. But Marcus is the main man behind the brewing. He was originally associated with the High Nose brand of beer, which was brewed up at Höganäs Brewery, and some of those beers are still brewed there, and this is where the Brewski beers were originally produced, but these days they have their own facility in the train yard just to the south of the central station in Helsingborg. And this brewery now has a capacity of around 100,000 litres of beer per month, but I think they aren't brewing quite that amount yet actually. I'm not sure exactly what their output is per month at the moment. But in 2016 they also started their own beer festival, which is called Brewskival. This has grown year on year. The very first year they had about 40 different breweries, and each year it seems that they've added about 20 or so. I first went to it in 2017 and was there in 2018 and 2019 as well, and it was bigger and bigger every year, as I said. This year in 2020, unfortunately it was cancelled, so hopefully it returns in 2021, and it is and they've got even more breweries next time. But it's always an awesome festival, and I would recommend that you check that one out if you do get the chance. That's definitely one of the best festivals in Scandinavia, along with the Mikkeller beer celebration in Copenhagen. But they also used to open up the brewery once a month for a bar which they call Brewski, and they now have their own bar in Helsingborg which goes by the same name. That opened back in 2018 if I remember rightly, because it very recently celebrated its 2-year anniversary. They serve a really interesting ramen there. It's not authentic ramen, but it is really pretty nice, and you'll get quite a number of the Brewski beers there that you won't be able to taste otherwise, at least for a while, before they would release them through Systembolaget. But they are now brewing some beers over in America at Tampa Bay Brewing Company in Florida. That's mainly the IPAs. I think they are exporting some of the Berliner Weisses and pastry stouts and stuff like this too, but they're also currently looking at opening up their own bar in Oslo just now, so that will be interesting to see how that develops. But Marcus also has a distribution company up there which is called Brewski, and they're importing the Swedish beers into Norway, which should be quite interesting. I hope the Norwegian guys start to really enjoy some of these. But over 2019 they apparently produced around 500,000 litres, 500,000 litres of beer, and as of November 2020, when I'm producing this review for you, they've produced around 310 different kinds of 310 different kinds of beer. So yeah, a pretty prolific brewery when you consider that they've been going around 6 years roughly. You know, to have 310 different kinds of beer, that's roughly around 1 beer per week. I think that is pretty damn impressive, actually, 1 new beer every week being released. So yeah, we have to say that is quite impressive. But yeah, I've had some very, very good beers from these guys over the years. The ones that always stick in memory would be the Little Big Hoppy, which I think is really good. The Conan Double IPA, I still think that Brewski are yet to beat that one in my mind. But I did have a very good one recently that was a collaboration with one of the Russian breweries. I want to say, was it AF Brew or was it Zagovor? I can't quite remember, but it was called the Shower, something Shower, and that was really nice. But as I say, the best beers I've had from these guys recently would be the pie series, the triple berry pie, strawberry pie, raspberry pie, dragon fruit, and I forget what the other one was, but I've had 5 really good beers from that pie series just now. So if you get the chance to try some of those pie Berliner Weisses, that's what I would recommend you go for from Brewski at the moment. And the cake series is also very, very good actually. But yeah, that's all I can really tell you about Brewski for the moment. If you want to learn more about these guys, you can check out the brewery website, you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and you can of course check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all those different beers that they've done. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one then. I'm very, very curious to see what this has in store for us today. So yeah, like I said to you at the start of the video, this one is a 6.5% ABV. Single IPA. This one, it is a New England Hazy from what I understand. There you can see on the back, that is the very nice kind of little Brewski man down here. I always enjoy seeing that, the moustache, the cigarette stick and the eyeglass and the top hat. I always think it's quite funny. But yeah, there you can see Nipple IPA, 6.5% ABV, and it does have a very nice kind of little heart piercing on it. Yeah, the Nipple series one has been quite interesting. I really wonder what this whole Nipple thing comes out with. You know, knowing Brewski, is it maybe some kind of thing about you know, is it some sort of thing about breast cancer awareness or something like that? This is why I wish they would put a little blurb on their cans. That's one of the criticisms I have of Brewski at the moment, is they need to put a little bit of blurb on the can and explain the name and what, you know, why they've named the beer this or whatever. Because I think that's one thing that I would really like to know about these, why they've had beers named after nipples recently. Yeah, No Nipple Session IPA, Nipple IPA, Double Nipple Double IPA, and then Triple Nipple Triple IPA. So yeah, I don't know why the nipples, but they've all had different piercings and stuff like that. Maybe they're modelled on the nipples of people who work for the brewery or something random like that, who knows. But yeah, single IPA, this one, 6.5% ABV. Let's get it out and we'll get on with the taste, and then I'm really curious to see what this beer is all about, especially, as I say, compared to the No Nipple IPA. But yeah, I think, as I said, No Nipple has been the one that's impressed me the most so far out of this series. I really, really like them. I really, really like that one. But I think one of the novelties of that is you don't find too many session IPAs in Sweden these days, and there is a bit of a fuzzy border, if you like, between the, you know, pale ale and and Session IPA actually. But as you can see, this beer, I have to say, for a 6.5%er, that does have an impressive level of haze to it. And you can see it's quite a nice rich orangey colour. This one, you can see the head was about one finger, but it's quite a bumpy, big frothy head on this one. But yeah, one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones going up towards the bottom of the head there. But I mean, overall, it does look very, very nice, this one, I have to say. But yeah, quite a rich, almost like a mix of a mango and peachy juice, this one. We always compare the New England IPAs to different fruit juices, because I really think that is a good frame of reference for them actually. But this one really reminds me of a kind of, yeah, I would say that this one really reminds me of a nice kind of peach mango-y type juice actually. But you can see that head is just fading away to be a very thin foamy layer. Remember, the things that will affect the colour of your beer will be, one, the type of malts that are used, and two, the length of the boil. So I wonder if this one maybe has a little bit of a kind of sweetening malt, like a bit of Cara Munich or Cara Pils or just caramel or something in it, because this one does have a wee bit of an orangey note to the colour. But it certainly looks very nice, definitely a little bit like a kind of peach juicy. Peach juice and mango juice mixed together, this one. So yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on. I'm very curious to see what this beer has in store for us. Yeah, should be quite nice. Ooh, that is quite a nice aroma, I have to say. Yeah, that's a very, very nice aroma that comes out of this one. Definitely. So we'll start off with the malt base as we always do, but do take a bit of time on the aroma. I think this is always half the experience when it comes to craft beers. So yeah, you can smell a lovely kind of nice white bready base to the beer. You've got a nice kind of oaty creaminess to it as well. A little bit of, you do have a little bit of kind of that sort of Werther's Original type sweetness to it. You do have a wee bit of that kind of brown sugary thing. I hesitate to say a full blown caramel. I do think it is more like a kind of butter candy note you get out of this one. And I've noticed that's a little bit of a trend in the Scandinavian IPAs. You get this nice big oaty note out of the beers these days, and also just a little bit of butter candied sweetness. But underneath, nice little bit of a crisp white bready note. You do have a little bit of a bitey wheaty character in there as well. So yeah, I think the aroma profile of this beer is pretty nice from the malty side of things. Nothing surprising compared to other Scandinavian IPAs that are out there at the moment, but just very nicely done. But in fairness, with the number of New England hazies that are out there, you can't really ask for much more than that, I think. So yeah, this one, aroma wise, it does come across nicely on the malty side of things. Hoppy side of things then, there is a wee touch of earthiness to this one. Nice big floral aromaticity. You also get a nice balance between that floral aromaticity and some of the more bitey elements of the wheat. I really like that about this beer. A little bit of lighter kind of grassy sort of thing, and you also do have some very nice juicy fruity characters. So the grassiness has a little bit of zestiness in it as well. So this is quite a bright, almost bitey New England IPA in terms of its nose. It reminds me of some of the Trillium ones. I've always found the Trillium IPAs from the States were very wheaty and bitey, whereas you had the farmhousey, you definitely had the more farmhousey Alchemists, you had the more almost West Coasty type Lawson's Finest, and then you've got the more oaty creamy Treehouses as well. So I really like how that goes together. But the aroma of the aroma profile on this one, I think, is pretty nice. Fruity wise, it's got a nice bit of passion fruit to it. I wouldn't be surprised if this has got a bit of Galaxy or Simcoe or something like that in it. It does have a little bit of that pungency. Victoria's Secret actually could be the other one that's in here. I wouldn't be surprised if there's one of those three hops, if not two of those three hops in there. So yeah, nice little bit of stronger passion fruit. You've got some lovely softer notes in there as well. Some of it's the soft, kind of more creamy aspects to the fruity side of the beer that make me think, you know, a little bit of Victoria's Secret or a little bit of Simcoe, because they've got lovely smooth kind of qualities, especially when you put them into these New England IPAs. So yeah, I really like that aspect of how this one goes together. Like, so yeah, soft passion, nice kind of bit of strong passion fruit, a little bit of a juicier mango and softer creamy passion fruit. We have a little bit, I think, there is a wee bit of a slightly apricot-y note. It has these kind of typical fruit notes, to be honest with you. but you've also got a nice little bit, there is a wee bit of a kind of zesty quality to this one as well. I do wonder, could there be a little bit of Equinaut or something in here? And there's also, well, maybe even a little bit of Mosaic. It could be Mosaic and Victoria's Secret or something that's in this with a little touch of Equinaut. I think there's only 2 or 3 hops in this one. It doesn't come across as madly complex in the way it puts everything together, but I really like how this one goes together. It's a really interesting, it is a very, very interesting beer, this one, in terms of its aroma, but it goes together very, very nicely. I've got high hopes for this, I have to say. So yeah, nice mix of fruity characters in this one. Passion fruit, mango, a little bit of apricot, and then some orangey, tangerine and sort of limey notes, I think, at the front. The lime I don't think is madly prominent though, just be aware of that. But yeah, lovely stuff, this one. So take a bit of time to enjoy that aroma. We're going to try this beer now. This one is the Nipple IPA, coming in at 6.5% ABV from Brewski Mikrobryggeri in Helsingborg in the northwest corner of Skåne here in the south of Sweden. Let's get stuck in. Slanche, skål. Yeah, that is pretty nice actually. Yeah, I actually find this one, it's a little bit more oily and sweet, I think, than the no nipple was. But this is nice. This is definitely quite nice. I do think, I think Brewski are doing some really nice, slightly lower alcohol beers at the moment. If you think about maybe it's a fair trend. Yeah, their big pastry stouts are obviously very good, and those are like 11 or 12%, if I remember rightly, somewhere in that kind of region. But at the moment, I think the lower ABV beers from Brewski are turning out very nice actually. This is a solid IPA for me. The thing that I'm really getting out of this is that it's very kind of crisp and clean and drinkable actually. That's the other thing. Yeah, the flavour profile of this is really quite nice actually. This one does have a wee bit of bite to it, but it's also got a lovely bit of cleanliness and smoothness and sweetness. I really like how that goes together. It's very nice. So yeah, flavour profile of this, I think, it suits me. It really suits me, this one. This has got what I like from a New England IPA these days. So let's try and break this one down then. Straight away with this beer you get that nice kind of slightly crisp but also quite soft white bread, that blankets the middle of your tongue. When you go towards the back third of your palate you can feel there is a nice kind of smooth wheaty character to this one, and that just thickens up that back third of your tongue. At the very back of the palate though you do get a little touch of bitiness, but you can feel the smoothness as you move further forward on that back third of your tongue there, and for me that just works out pretty nicely, so definitely like that. So yeah, the back third of your palate there, the bitiness I think builds in this one as you go further on. The hops play a good role in that as well. But yeah, as you go into the middle third of your palate, you can feel the thickness, the bready thickness. It does just drop off again. It does drop off. But then this one for me, I'm surprised because the middle of your palate, it is actually more smooth and more oaty, this one. There is a tiny little bit of a sort of butter, candy-ish, brown sugary sweetness in the middle of your palate. That's the booziness of the beer being covered up though. But yeah, soft bready notes and then just an oaty, a kind of very smooth oaty layer coming out of this one in the middle of the palate. This actually strikes me as being a little bit more kind of old school, to be honest with you. This is kind of comparable to, it's 6.5%, so it is kind of directly comparable to the likes of the Amazing Haze and the Narangi and stuff like this. This one really has a little bit of that kind of vibe to it, I would say. It's more like an old school New England IPA, this one, and that's maybe why I like it actually. I do like, I like to have a bit of variety in styles these days, and this one, a lot of the New England IPAs that I've been drinking have been very sweet and very kind of butterscotch, like sort of butter candy, brown sugary. This one is properly smooth with the oats and just a little bit, pardon me, bitey on the wheat. So I really like the balance that this beer finds in its malt base, and you guys know if you've watched this channel for any length of time, I'm a sucker for a good malt base. So this one just really strikes a chord with me, so thumbs up to Brewski for this. So yeah, this one I think is probably on par with the no nipple actually, but I would say I've enjoyed those two a little bit more than the higher alcohol ones, although maybe I haven't given triple nipple a fair bash, because I think I got a bad can of that, as I said. But the last triple IPA I had from Brewski was very, very nicely done, I have to say. So yeah, that is the thing. But yeah, this strikes me as being quite an old school New England for me. So if you like Amazing Haze and you like Narangi, you probably will find some similarities with this one out. So the Malt Base reminds me a lot of those two beers. So yeah, hoppy side of things then. Back corners of the palate, there is a little bit of there is a wee tiny touch of earthiness to this one. That makes me wonder about Mosaic. There is just something familiar about the slightly orangey notes you get in this beer. But yeah, a little bit of earthiness there as you move further forward. Some nice floral aromaticity. You do like that. Then as you go round the front curve of the palate, it gets a little bit lighter and grassy. The floral aromaticity, it is more aromatic rather than being spicy and anything like this. But then the grassiness on the front curve of the palate does have a little touch of zestiness to it. So I really like how that goes together in this one. So yeah, I think this one is really quite nice on that sense. The way that the green side of the hops comes out matches the malt base really well. Bit of floral aromaticity matches with the wheat, and then you do get that the way that the kind of smoothness in the middle of the palate contrasts with the other things is good as well. But on the fruity side of things, I think this beer is really nice, and again very, very clean. So front third of your palate, you've got a really nice oily bubble that comes out of this one. But again, as I say, this beer feels quite crisp and quite clean. So yeah, on the as we say, on the fruity side of things, if you go towards the back of that front third of your palate, there is definitely a wee touch of that stronger passion fruity note. Yeah, there is a wee touch of that kind of slightly stronger passion fruity note, but very quickly this beer, I think, becomes very, very sweet in terms of its fruity notes. As you move further forward, you definitely get a little bit of a lighter mango with this one. I could even be convinced to say there's Citra in this. It's Citra and Mosaic. I could be convinced that it's something like that. There's something oddly familiar about the combination with things in this beer. It could be Citra and Mosaic actually, although the aroma was a little bit more Simcoe and Victoria's Secret like. As you know, in these reviews I love playing guess the hops, but yeah, for me, lovely big juicy mangoey note, that kind of sits in the sort of back half of the front third of your tongue. But as you move further forward, you get a little bit of more of a kind of oily, mosaic-y type quality coming out of this beer, which I think is really quite nice. You do get that kind of orangey, that bright tangerine juicy note and oily note on the very front tip of your tongue almost, and that's nice. Then yeah, on the very, very tip of your tongue there's a wee bit of a sort of lemon limey kind of zesty sort of thing. That's what makes me think Citra. It's that note that makes me think Citra. Of course the alternatives would be a bit of Centennial, a bit of Equinaut maybe, but I think this is maybe just two hops in this, and there's just something telling me that it could be a bit of Citra and Mosaic. This is quite a straightforward, straight shooting IPA. So yeah, I do like how this one goes together. The fruitiness is nice. Mangoes, a little bit of a tangerine orange for me, one or two little lemon limey notes in there, maybe even a little hint of gooseberry, almost just a tiny little bit of gooseberry, a little bit of an oily gooseberry mixing in with the kind of tangerine orangey notes. But yeah, I like how this one, I do like how this one goes together. Yeah, it gets a thumbs up from me. I think this one and the No Nipple have been the ones I've enjoyed from the Nipple series so far. So yeah, well done to Brewski on this. Mouthfeel wise then, to round off the review, yeah, I mean, this one to me, I would say it's kind of mid-body, it's straight in the middle of the thing, maybe towards the bottom end of mid-bodied. The carbonation is quite smooth. It does have a nice wetness to the mouthfeel, and it does have a wee bit of crispness to it as well. I mean, the thing I'm noticing with this beer, in the middle of the palate, that nice oaty note is coming out of this one. I think this one could have a wee touch of Pils malt in it, just a very small touch, because you do feel a little bit of that almost Pils malt mouthfeel in this one, and the beer has a very clean, almost slightly crisp mouthfeel to it, and I think that suits it very, very nicely. So yeah, lovely kind of smooth malt base on this one, and then yeah, you do have some really nice, you have some very, very nice, just juicy, fruity and smooth components to this beer. I like how this goes together. Yeah, it gets a big thumbs up from me, this one. Well done to Brewski on that. But yeah, hoppy, bitterness wise, pardon me, I think this is about a 25 IBU, and I don't find this one any more bitter than a lot of the other ones I've had. This is quite a low bitterness ABV beer, 25-30 IBUs, kind of standard. Malt Base, like I say, really quite smooth actually. It's got a nice little bit of smoothness, it's got a little bit of crispness to it, as I say, towards the back of the palate. Bitiness from the wheat, maybe a touch of Pilsner malt in there, I don't know. That was quite popular to do in Sweden for quite some time. But yeah, you do have some nice kind of smooth creamy notes there in the middle of the palate, and it does have a little touch of sweetness, but some really good juicy fruity characters in there as well. So yeah, I really like how this one goes together, and it gets a big thumbs up from me. So yeah, the Nipple IPA from Brewski Mikrobryggeri in Helsingborg here in Skåne. I think this is a very, very nicely done beer. So yeah, they deserve praise for this, definitely. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one then. This was the Nipple IPA, 6.5% ABV, another very nice beer, this one. And I have to say, I think I have been enjoying the lower alcohol beers from Brewski recently. So maybe I need to try a few slightly higher alcohol beers from these guys and see what they're like again. Because I think, yeah, out of the 4 that I've had in the Nipple series so far, definitely no Nipple and Nipple edge it for me. I think these ones are very nicely done. So yeah, let's leave it there. But thank you again for watching my reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Brewski Mikrobryggeri as well. And you know, yeah, this one, let me know some other kind of single IPAs and stuff that I should be reviewing on the channel. I'd like to have a go at a few more, it's like the lower alcohol ones. But if you like Amazing Haze and the Rangi, there is just something oddly familiar about this beer. I think I've got a feeling there's Citra and Mosaic in this one. There's just a hint, a little feeling going in the back of my mind there about that. But lovely beer, this one, and awesome to review something different from Brewski. So check out these guys. You know, check out these guys, have a go at some of their different beers, go and visit Barski in Helsingborg if you can, try some of the Fever series, try some of the Pie series, and the Cake series is always good if you want something a little bit darker as well. So yeah, thank you again for watching, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Check out my social media, check out Brewski Mikrobryggeri from Helsingborg, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. You'll see these guys again on the channel very, very soon. Slanja, skål, cheers, and I'll catch you later.